It's fantasy football draft season. We're approaching Labor Day weekend, the holiday for fantasy football drafts. News is dropping left and right. We caught big news yesterday with Amari Cooper going to the Raiders. We're going to talk about whether or not you need him for fantasy football, what fantasy football formats, how to get him, why you shouldn't, why you should, good, bad, to ugly, all of it right here in this deep dive. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at these players every day. We're doing deep dives every day. We're going to find you gems off the waiver wire as we're covering the waiver wire every day throughout the season. On top of that, we're going to help you set those lineups by looking at the matchups. Click that button. Stop missing out. But Amari Cooper is back. He's back. He's going to the Raiders. It wasn't a great season last year. Maybe we're on that downturn. And I know a lot of people are commenting right now just looking at the traditional thumbnail and title. But still, he might be on the downturn. But Amari Cooper has had a decorated career. College, NFL. He's had a good career in the league. And he has been recently semi-productive too. We're going to dig in all that to see whether or not you want him. But remember, coming out of Alabama, he was a top-tier prospect. He was a big-time prospect. Early breakout age. Felt like he was at Alabama for years back then. But he comes out 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns to finish off his career at Alabama. Drafted 4th in the draft back in 2015. That is amazing that we're still kicking in the league. We're still being searched up by fantasy football gamers whether or not they should be rostering Amari Cooper, whether or not they should be even drafting him, thinking about him. 31.2 years old. Keep that in mind. Older prospect. And we have had at least one wide receiver 1 week every year for the last 10 seasons. That is crazy. Maybe it's 9. Maybe my math is wrong. But still, averaging 13.7 PPR fantasy points per game during his career. And the last few seasons, since 2020, 13.5 points. He's been productive to a point. To a point recently. Even last year, he had some production. If you look at that, even last year, he had some production. It was up and down last year. Bills, Browns. He had to learn a new situation. He got banged up a little bit. 2023, he had the best game of his career, fantasy scoring-wise. 51.5 points. He had some wide receiver 1 weeks baked in there. He was commanding targets. And you're seeing green lines in every single season here. Him hitting 30 points multiple times. Around 25 points multiple times. He has that there. He has that there. But is the fall off happening? That is the wonder. You're looking at the recent injuries. Nothing super crazy. Wrist injury, week 8. 5 injury reports. We played through that. We were playing through an injury with the Bills, trying to get ramped up with them too, and it didn't go off. But still, you're looking at this. There's no injuries here indicating that a fall-off's happening. Father Time is, though. Father Time saying, hey, I'm coming in sooner than later. I'm coming in. It might be this year. And I'm going to be like, hey, no more, Amari. It's time for you to rest up. Your work is done. And we're looking at this depth chart here. Jakobi Meyers requested a trade. I should have said that at the start of the video, but you should already know by now. He requested a trade yesterday, and then moments later, hours, Amari Cooper's brought in. Is something happening? Is it happening soon? Is it happening today, tomorrow, Friday, before the season? Are they moving Myers? That is what people are speculating. But also, look, Jack Betch drafted in the 2nd round of this year's draft. Thornton has been going off. He has been looking good in camp. He is a wide receiver I am very interested in. Trey Tucker got some moments last season. We'll talk about them. But Myers, productive wide receiver, good out on the field. He's steady, almost 29 years old. Solid wide receiver since 2022, averaging 13.8 PPR fantasy points per game. Multiple wide receiver 1 weeks. Has had at least 3 every year in the last 3 seasons. That's solid numbers considering where he's always going at in drafts. He's dependable. And the other team's going to like that. Another team's going to want that. They're going to want that dependability. But you're looking at Thornton here. I don't think Cooper, Meyers are going to impact him because of how he plays the game, and you can just look at it by the numbers here. 6'5", 4.3 speed, deep downfield, deep targets, deep average depth of target, potential for splash production at minimum if we're running good routes, as in a good route participation rate, 70, 75, 80%. He is going to have a good average depth of target, and even though he's not getting targeted a lot, like less than 20%, somewhere around 15 to 20% range, he's still going to give you volatile production to the point he can get you some wide receiver 1 weeks. If we can rack up targets, this is a wide receiver that could blow up. That's the thing about this. If we can rack up targets, 5+ a game, which is in the range of outcomes here, especially Trey Tucker averaged about 5+ targets a game, especially when injuries hit. This is a wide receiver to pay attention to. Broke out early in college. It's got that speed, like I said. Has been looking good in training camp. We're going to talk more about what fantasy gamers are doing with Thornton. Let me know what you think about him in the comments below. Jack Betch, 2nd-round wide receiver. Looked good at the Senior Bowl. 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Goes to LSU. Can't get it done at LSU because they're so stacked at wide receiver. Probably shouldn't have went there. Transfers to TCU. Gets productive there. The Senior Bowl is where he shines. That's where he gets put on notice. And if you shine at the Senior Bowl, your draft capital goes up a notch. He has good hands, good contested catch ability. He's reliable. I believe he's going to have a role in this offense eventually. Eventually, somewhere down the line. I think you're going to look at Jack Betch as a guy you're picking up off waivers. A lot of people are drafting him, but a little less, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. Trey Tucker had his opportunity last year and didn't capture it. When guys were out, we did a You Need video on him, and if you read between the lines, I was kind of wishy-washy, but I said at least he's going to get around 5 targets a game. 5 or more. He did get 5 or more targets a game. He didn't do anything with it. He did not do anything with it. He did not capture that opportunity. They brought in more wide receivers, different coaching staff. I think Trey Tucker could be on the field. I think his odds of being a fantasy football asset is significantly reduced. He had that opportunity. He showed some flashes here and there over the last couple years. It just never amounted to it. You're looking here at the ADP of Amari Cooper. Nobody was drafting him, of course, throughout the entire draft season for best ball. Right now, we're seeing a stock bump up over the last 24 hours due to the trade. That's probably going to go up a little bit more. Right now, he's being drafted as the 93rd best wide receiver off the board, 227 overall. What does that mean? If I'm in a 12-man league, 16 rounds, I'm probably not drafting him. Odds are he's going to sit on the waivers. People have already commented, not even watching the video, thinking I'm just going to say you absolutely need him, saying, hey, no. The thing is, he's outside the scope. There's going to be a ramp-up period, like we just now got with the team. It's new coaching staff and everything, so things are going to have to be learned. They got to learn him too. They got to establish roles. They got to see what they're doing with Meyers. If Meyers is gone, that stock's going up a little bit more. Could be wide receiver 80 to 75 range if that happens, maybe higher. Really depends on how crazy gamers get trying to catch that wide receiver in the last rounds. But he's fallen out of draftable ADP when you're looking at 18-round drafts. He's just fallen out of it. That's something to pay attention to. And he's probably not getting drafted. He might sneak into one of the last picks, as people are speculating. That could potentially happen. Amari Cooper is on the rise, but not enough for a traditional 12-man, 16-round league. However, if you're in a 16-teamer, 20-teamer, 22-teamer, if you're looking for somebody cheap off the waiver wire that could give you something, I bet you he gives you a couple wide receiver 1 weeks. Somehow, some way, at least one, maybe 1 or 2. Maybe that's great for DFS as he's starting to run more routes. I believe you're going to catch a ramp up, start of season, you ain't going to see much, and it's going to ramp up throughout the year. It might be anticlimactic, But fantasy is also in the eye of the beholder. Daily fantasy football, it could be nice in some moments. You're looking at over-unders where it's pushing 50. You're watching the routes ran on him and the snap share. You're watching that week to week. You're seeing how he progresses with his team. But I'm watching Thornton and Betch. Thornton is a riser. The market wants Thornton. The market's a huge indicator. We see it in preseason. We hear it in camp. He has been a riser. And he's been a riser in minicamp OTAs too. He's good. He's got speed to burn. These two wide receivers, Jakobi Meyers or Amari Cooper, they do not impact Thornton. Thornton's got that deep route speed. He is going to get deep targets. And at the very least, volatile. Will Fuller, Gabe Davis, very least, if he's out there running a considerable amount of routes. Jack Betch, I think he's going to be a later play. I think they were overdrafting him a little bit as we saw him come down later in the depth chart as we got deeper into preseason. I think he's a guy you're picking up off waivers middle of the season. I think you're going to see the routes trend up. I think you're going to see him start carving out a role somewhere around October. I think you're going to be picking up Betch. Well, some of you guys are in around October when he starts running more routes. We're going to have a You Need video out on Betch saying, hey, you may want to think about him around October. Like I guarantee you, unless somebody gets hurt or something like that, around October is when you're going to be thinking about Betch. Right now, you should be thinking about Thornton. He is draftable in 12-man, 16-round leagues. But you also got to think about this. Your lottery ticket spot. How many are you allocating for lottery tickets? Can you go with 2? 3 is a little much, but you could possibly do it. 2 is kind of the sweet spot this year. Usually it's 1. And the reason why 2 is more of a sweet spot this year compared to 1 in previous years is the batch of running backs is so deep. It's probably best that you can take more swings at that pinata. That being said, I'm highly interested in Thornton. I'm going to take my shots at him, but I'm going to be very strategic because I am going to load up at rookie running back. I am loading up on those young guys, those year 2 backs, those rookie running backs. Some of them falling out ADP. I'll still probably draft 1 or 2 of those here and there sprinkled in. I'm definitely doing that. But he is a lottery ticket. If you're looking for a lottery ticket wide receiver, Thornton's one of them. Thornton is a lottery ticket wide receiver. He will get his own video because I want to cover Thornton. I will get one out here soon, probably within the next 24 hours, 48 hours. And then especially one on Betch too, especially if more happens with this offense. Thornton's the hot name here. Thornton's the name I'm actually chasing. Amari Cooper, I just want to shine that out. He will have a couple good games this year. It may not be enough for you to really allocate positioning in fantasy football, but the bounce back could happen. You're looking at that. I expect a ramp up, though. I expect him to ramp up. I expect age to start kicking in somewhere down the line. I expect the young wide receivers to start getting their opportunity. I expect them to have a few good games. I expect them to surprise you for a little bit, and then I expect the age start creeping in. So I expect like something like this, something like that when it comes to the scoring chart. Like down, nothing, a little up, and boom. Like something like that. That's what I'm expecting from his season. That is my call. This is my call on him. Something like that. Like that's it. Like I'm expecting him to have a few good games, but yet deliver you a lot of nada. And you can capitalize on that still. Daily fantasy football, you're looking at best ball maybe. If you're looking for 1 or 2 games out of a player late in drafts, maybe. And it might be later on down, middle of the season type deal. I'm heavily interested in Thornton. He will get his own video for sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.